this CEO looked at the next in line, and you could tell he just thought to himself, this guy does not get it. Hey everyone, I'm Andrew. I'm a CFA charter holder and CFP professional, which is just a nice way of saying I'd rather take tests than have friends. And I've been working with ultra high net worth and high net worth investors for over the last decade, and I take the learnings and thousands of reps that I've gotten from meeting with those people in their complex situations, and I give them to you so that you can apply them to your own life. And today I want to talk about some retirement lies that you most likely believe, and that probably at least one of them resonates with you. Two on the behavioral side, two on the spending side. And I'm going to start with the behavioral because I was thinking about this CEO that we used to work with who traveled a lot for his job, was really well renowned in his industry. Time came for him to retire. No problem. Run the retirement plan. You can spend this much. You all know the drill on this. Well, he retires, and as part of his retirement, we'd built in essentially a board seat for him, in an advisory capacity. And post-retirement, first meeting back, you're always curious as the financial advisor, how are they doing in retirement? And we ask him, hey, how are you doing? And he's like, oh, it's fine. You know, the board's okay. Fast forward, next meeting. I don't know how much longer I'm going to do the board. It kind of finally starts to open up a little bit. And he had come to the realization that so many of you all have to come to, or have come to, which is people aren't always going to take my advice. It was a lot easier for me to get people to take my advice when my title was CEO. But when I'm on the board of directors and I have one vote out of however many, and it's in an advisory capacity, and this resonates with me because my whole job, the way I'm compensated, is I give advice to people and they either do or don't do it. And a lot of times people don't do what they set out to do. This former CEO, you could just feel the frustration when he was viewing this next in line, and he would say, well, he just doesn't get it. And maybe he didn't. Maybe it was a generational thing, but he thought his advice was going to be more important than it actually was. He thought his standing in the hierarchical structure of that corporation would stay. He did not move on in his head, accepting the fact that I'm in a different position now. That was hard. And it was hard to see him go through it, and eventually he left the board because of that. On the other end, I've seen many people who are petrified to retire. Well, I don't know what I would do. You know, I can't golf all the time. You've heard me say that in these videos. You can't golf 40 hours a week, right? All true. But these are people who have built in other meaningful areas in their lives. But they're so used to working in an environment for 40, 50, 60 hours a week. It's hard to leave that environment. But they're discounting the joy that's on the other end of retirement because it's almost a form of entrepreneurship. You control your time, your schedule, you do what's meaningful to you. And I've seen so many people who we say, you can retire. I've told so many people that. That's a great, fun thing for me to say. But they go, okay, 6 more months. Come back again. Oh, okay, 6 more months. It's like the fiance that, never actually gets married. And what they realize when they're on the other side is they go, God, I wish I had retired sooner. I love it. Because they'd already built that base for their next mission in life. They were fine. But the jump was so hard, and it takes such guts to do, that they delayed it right? They delayed that gratification for too long. And so two spending patterns that I see that are corollary to this is, on the one side, people who always discount their expenses. My last video was about a person who was discounting their expenses. What would happen is they lie to themselves saying, yeah, I can retire on $8,000 a month. No doubt. But I make $500,000 a year and I only save 50 of it. You have a 10% savings rate on $500,000 and you think you're going to live on 20% of what you're making now? You're insane, right? And, let's go with the definition of insanity. It's doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. If we continue to have these spending patterns that are above our means and will not generate the type of income we want in retirement, but we expect the same outcome, doesn't that actually just mean we're insane? And on the opposite side of that spectrum, I've seen so many retirees put in their plans the second home, the vacation with their family. You know what? Andrew, put in $30,000 a year for the first 10 years of retirement. I'm taking everyone. We're all going on vacation every single year. And it's fun, right? It's this collaborative relationship, which is kind of what I live for. And you see it in people's eyes. Yeah, I want to do this. I want to do that. But when it gets to actually spending the money, it's hard. And they don't do it. And they wake up on the back end after the stroke, after the parents die, they get another inheritance. Kids are older. Grandkids are in school now, so there's only so many weeks a year they can do this. And they go, I wish we'd traveled when we had the chance. I wish we'd taken the grandkids out when we had the chance. I've seen it so many times. And it's because, again, to use that behavioral story and apply it to the spending pattern, we've ingrained in our minds, I am going to live below my means. I'm going to save my money. And I'm going to delay my gratification. But then there gets to a point where you're supposed to gratify and use the tool, money, to provide joy in your life. And people don't do it. And then they regret not using the tool later on. And it's easy to model things out. That's easy. An 18-year-old who's taking calculus can model the things out in financial planning. The tough thing is implementing the model. Okay, you understand? The tough thing is actually implementing the model. I've just seen it so many times where people have an issue actually spending the money that they've saved for 40 years on the things that they say are meaningful to them. And we put it in the plan, but a lot of times it doesn't get put into practice. So much of it's behavioral. And what we know to be true and what we do sometimes aren't in alignment. Take these 4 stories and apply them to your own life. And, I've said it in so many videos, know thyself, know where your weak spots are, be self-aware, and either outsource them or have contingency plans. Got to have one or the other, because the third option is you just don't do things that you need to do. So until next time, thanks everyone.